On the Fringe with Dan radio style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. This has just been a very interesting weekend, especially around this Epstein, Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, Cash Patel. A lot of questions, bunch of answers. Really, the only question right now is Dan Bongino. He's been oddly silent, so I wonder if there was a little truth to his blow up. Not sure, though. Cash Patel's come out. We've got news on that. Pam Bondi's got Trump's support. So this discussion that this isn't happening how it's supposed to is well, it's incorrect. Again, I don't care if anyone trusts the plan or not at this point. We're all going to be walking this path as individuals. Some of us are going to have an easier time than others, but this has been an interesting go, to say the least. All said, we got a bunch of news to get into. Let's start chatting about it. So there's a new report that's out that's showing that the Secret Service, today is the 13th, by the way, the one-year anniversary from Trump's being shot, essentially, his attempted assassination. But this new report shows that the Secret Service had threat intelligence 10 days before the assassination, as well as 25 minutes before the shooting. There was actually some discussion around the individual that shot him. Forgetting his name for some reason. Got Ruth as the other guy, but drawing a blank on the guy in Butler. But he is... they knew about it, and such abysmal failures. Now, I don't think it was failures. I think it was intentional. I think it was from the top down, and they were trying to kill Trump. And how else do you do that? Well, the people that are supposed to keep them safe, you make sure they can't do their jobs, right? So that happened. Texas man, he just did a Facebook post, and he said, "I won't miss." He got arrested. Yeah, you can't even joke about stuff like that, nor should you. That is not how we do things, that's for sure. Here, Donald Trump shared this from the White House podium, I guess, if you will. I haven't watched it all the way through yet. I think it's kind of a little bit I did see. It was pretty cool. Check it out.
Donald was the young man who was going to conquer Manhattan.
He takes chances that would make a less daring man shudder.
To think about the arc of where he's been in, it's like some sort of mythical story or something.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me.
Donald Trump seems to always get stronger when challenged.
My God, that guy's got resilience.
Those who deal with you underestimate you and live to regret it.
It's always good to be underestimated. It is not about politics. It's about our love for this great country, America, and we're not going to let it fail. I will fight like no one has ever fought before.
Trump is the bodyguard of Western civilization.
You want to talk about a fighter, a walk through fire? He's an absolute savage.
He knows that this is much bigger than him. This is about the American people.
They have no idea what they have unleashed.
He was ready to go face the cameras and come out swinging.
What will future Americans say we did in our brief time here on Earth? It will be defined by your vision, your perseverance, and your grit. Nothing will sway us, nothing will slow us, and no one will ever stop us. We are Americans. Ambition is our heritage. Greatness is our birthright. And the future belongs to us.
What we choose to do with this time in history is up to each and every one of us. Again, I'm grateful for my audience, for you guys making the ripples you make and making the difference out there that you guys are making. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of this with you all. We had a plane crash today and exploded into a massive fireball. This was outside a runway in London. Smaller plane, apparently, but it done blowed up. I'm sure people probably passed away in it. So, again, just strange. Don't know who was on it. We'll see if we get more info as time progresses. We finally have some solid information on what caused the crash in that Air India situation, the one that took off and then just fell. One of the pilots, cut off the fuel feeds. There's these two little switches right below the fuel control. And they're little switches, and it's right underneath the thrust. Somehow they accidentally got knocked off when you cut off the fuel. One, it's not easy to turn back on anyways. It's not like instant, but he literally shut off the engines. Two switches, done. And again, sometimes you would want to be able to do that. It's not like, oh, they should cover those. And well, I don't know, maybe they're going to do something like that. Maybe hit it as an accident. There was even a discussion in the cockpit, and one of the other pilots like, why did you turn those off? And the guy's like, I didn't. and then they crashed because those were turned off. So as it turns out, it was a pilot error. Search for Texas flooding victims has been suspended among some new flood warnings. Again, the weather is crazy right now. There were some floods going on, I want to say, in Oklahoma, too, just like right when I was going on to filming. So, again, a lot of crazy weather's happening all over the place. Again, a lot of speculation as to cloud seeding and everything else. If they are cloud seeding, they're doing it all over the place, because it's like you don't cloud seed a storm and then, it's like it's super ferocious for hundreds of miles. Usually once you cloud seed it, dumps a bunch of that energy, right? So you'd have to continually cloud seed across the nation to get all these crazy floods. Again, they could be. I don't know. But I think a lot of times people, there was evidence that some form of cloud seeding was occurring in Texas, though the company swears up and down it wasn't anywhere near the problem area. But again, there is evidence that, they admitted it, frankly, that there was cloud seeding. So again, a lot of people feel like they know for sure. I don't. There's no way in hell we know for sure, but there is a lot of information to suggest they've been messing with our weather. We know that. So again, it's very sad how many people's lives are being lost too. It's just horrific. We've got Donald Trump. What does he say here? President Trump honoring the memory of the girls at the camp that lost their lives, and his wife actually says something, and Melania says something beautiful afterwards. We'll get to her next.
Following a torrential downpour, the worst that anyone's ever seen, Guadalupe River rose 26 feet in less than 45 minutes, and I've even heard it went well over 30 feet. There's one story that one person said it had to be 60 feet at one moment. This is like a giant wave in the Pacific Ocean that the best surfers in the world would be afraid to surf. And it unleashed a catastrophic flooding as most residents were asleep in their beds. A very dark evening. The waters claimed at least 135, 140 lives. They're getting that count, but the count that they don't have is how many are still missing. But a lot of lives, a lot of young angels. At the girls' Christian summer camp, known as Camp Mystic, a legendary camp, a camp that people would want to go to from all over the country. People, parents, they come and they would stay with their children. They'd stay in other cabins just to be with their children, but a legendary place. They were there because they loved God, and as we grieve this unthinkable tragedy, we take comfort in the knowledge that God has welcomed those little, beautiful girls into his comforting arms in heaven. And we believe that, have to believe that, and we do.
Yeah, it's just a tragedy. Tragedy, how many lives were lost, and especially those young ladies at the camp. It's just very, very sad. Here's Melania. I believe she had a little comment to make as well.
My deepest sympathy to all of the parents who lost beautiful young souls. Deepest sympathy from all of us, to the community, to everybody who lost a loved one. We are grieving with you. Our nation is grieving with you. We just met with the wonderful families. We pray with them, we hug, we hold hands. They share the stories, and I met beautiful young ladies. They gave me this special bracelet from the camp in honor of all of the little girls that they lost their lives. So we are here to honor them and also to give the support, help, and I will be back. I promise to them, and I just pray for them and giving them my strength and love.
Sweet lady. Really is. We got lucky in this one, that's for sure. We had a mass shooting that erupted at a Tennessee class reunion out in Chattanooga, or at least close to Chattanooga. Pretty sad. Nobody killed, 4 people injured. They're treated at the hospital. They did not catch the shooter. I'm not sure. They don't really get into what information they've got. So one can only hope they've got, one can only hope that somebody got somebody on camera. But, don't know. It's very sad. Just a lot of weird stuff happening. I want to remind you guys, Healthy Home, this is just an amazing product. And amazing products. And everyone I'm talking to that's taken it is experiencing the same thing. Especially my buddy James that's was doing Route 66. He's been giving me a lot of pictures. I haven't gotten any for a couple days, but yeah, Route 66, he's doing the Prime, and he literally says he takes it in the morning, and it's lasting him all day. He's like, still feels like he's got a lot of energy at the end of the day, and he's been driving just mad miles and taking a lot of fun pictures. So that Prime product is incredible, and it is. It's just energy. It expands your blood vessels, and it just causes more oxygen to move through your body, and you feel it almost immediately. Stem Active is much the same. These guys know what they're doing when it comes to making meds. Your stem cells are the cells that actually heal your body or become other parts, like other organs. You have heart cells, right? Your heart has heart cells. Your lungs have lung cells. Skin has skin cells. And literally, that's how it works in the body. The cells are specific to what they are, and that's what they are, right? Stem cells are the only cells that aren't like that. Stem cells are, I like to call them androgynous, right? But they're like the ones that are kind of wild and free and can become anything. Now, once they become something, that's what they are for the rest of their lives as well. But this increases the number of stem cells in your body naturally. It's not actually injecting stem cells into you because that's generally from fetal cells, and that's pretty nasty. And they're also very expensive. It works super well. But you can do it with your own body, with your own stem cells. And this actually does it with plant-based and healthy materials, and a 25 to 40% increase in your stem cells. So if you've got anything that's got issues, like me, if I have shoulder, jacked up shoulder, I was getting pain when I was working out, that went away. Girlfriend, calcification in her shoulder. That actually went away. It took a little while, but that went away. And that's calcification, right? I've got the friend, the officer, who her hip and shoulder, she was kind of jacked in a few places. Major benefits, right? I'm hearing from all sorts of people that their pains have gone away. Stem Active's powerful. They got a gel, it's like liquid, kind of easier to take. The other one is just a pill. So right here, if you take 2 pills a day or you drink a thing of liquid a day, and you get your stem cells way up there. I'm hearing great things about balance. Balance is very powerful. So ladies going through the change, you're having some problems with, temperature regulation, moods are all over the place, can't sleep well at night, right? Just hot flashes, all this crazy stuff. We're getting almost like it's a miracle help. It's no hormones in it. It's plant-based. It helps your own body deal with it from within. It's a transdermal lotion. You put it on your wrist. You rub it on your wrist. It's it. You're done. It's that simple. And from what I'm understanding, this one thing that you buy can last, it's everything's supposed to be for a month, but people are getting 2-3 months out of one container. So give it a try. Understand that it's, we're hearing rave reviews. People are saying it's making an enormous difference inside of them. Amaze is the collagen peptide. This is another good one, the officer friend as well. I gave her a box, and she was trying it, and literally people were like, what is up with your skin? And it did. Her skin looked amazing. I mean, she's Hispanic, so she's got that perfect, beautiful skin anyways. This made it even better. It's crazy. If you got sagging skin, sore muscles, joint discomfort, lifeless hair, you want a collagen peptide in your life. And it's liquid, so it's almost immediately absorbed. It'll help with nails, hair, all that stuff, right? Like my nails are growing so damn fast, it's almost annoying. Frankly, I'm a dude. It's like, frick, I'm cutting them all the dang time. It's annoying. And here's the Prime I was telling you about. It'll get you across Route 66, that's for sure. Just great stuff. Great for working out. Great for chasing the kids around. Anybody that wants to get a little bit more energy and not feel like you're on caffeine or anything strange, because it doesn't feel like that at all. It's weird. You just have more energy. You can't put your finger on why. I mean, you know what caused it, but you don't know why. It's freaking awesome. Just more oxygen's getting through your body. And then, again, Stem Active for your pets. It's about half the price of what you pay for humans. The little chewable pills. If you got a pet that's gone through surgery, a pet that's got arthritis, stuff like that, I highly recommend Stem Active for pets. Huge differences. Unfortunately, it's a little harder to kind of get that feedback, but you'll actually start to notice they're walking better. They're more playful. You'll notice. You'll actually notice. The Stem Active for pets is very, very powerful, as well as for humans. Go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com, or said another way, danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. You're going to get yourself some healthy choices, healthy living, and you'll feel it. You'll know it. It's freaking awesome. American Truckers United have issued a dire warning. A lot of migrant drivers have been involved in accidents. I'm not saying all accidents, but we are finding a huge number or a large increase of trucks that are people that aren't properly licensed like they should be here in the States, that come from other places, and they're driving 85-ton loads. And 85 tons, that doesn't go exactly where it should and slow down exactly how it should, and maybe is unquestionable the mechanics of the trucks themselves. A lot of questionable stuff going on, and it's costing lives. It's costing lives. It's costing all sorts of problems. So this is a warning is being put out by, well, of course, the American Truckers United. I think it's a union, but still, it's important. Corporate media is trying to whitewash an illegal immigrant's terror ties. We got another one of these situations where they try to make him out to be a good guy. Corporate media has once again been caught attempting to whitewash an illegal immigrant concerning background in an attempt to portray them in a sympathetic light and undermine President Donald Trump's nationwide immigration enforcement actions. In this particular instance, Ayman Soleiman is an Egyptian imam. He was detained by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. He's being presented by the Cincinnati Enquirer as a children's chaplain, despite having had his asylum status revoked by the former Biden government in 2024 over his name being flagged on the Federal Bureau of Investigation's terrorism watch list, though he's a children's chaplain. Now, honestly, he possibly traffics children. They put things out like sometimes that are legit. He's a children's chaplain. Sometimes they're saying what's exactly up right to our face. Federal judge orders Trump admin to halt immigration operations without probable cause in California. So this judge, I forgot the nickname I gave this, Mame Awusi Mensah Frimpong. Yeah, right? Mame Awusi Mensah Frimpong. That's kind of fun, actually. I'm going to figure out something with that. That's almost worthy. You know, I got to find something for it. We'll see what Frimpong can do. There's a power in there. Needless to say, she's said, no, you cannot come in here and just pull people out of a crowd because their skin's brown and they have an accent and they talk funny. You can't pull people over for that. So whatever, that's not legal. This judge is totally overstepping their bounds, like hugely so. This is fantastic. So whatever. We'll see what happens. And what's going to happen, I mean, probably, and Homan's just already probably loaded up. One, either A, they're going to immediately break it and just see what are you going to do, Judge, because this is insane, which I don't think they want to do because it looks bad, and they'll play it up bad on the other side of the media. So what they do is they wait for the appeal to happen. And then once it does, they raid the hell out of L.A. over and over and over and over just to make Karen's life miserable. You're not doing anything about it. Right. She can't. She's powerless, and then everybody's going to be pissed. And by the way, I was talking to my neighbor, too, by the way, and he's legal, but he's Hispanic as well. And he's like, dude, Hispanics are like overwhelmingly conservative. They just don't vote. And that's part of the problem. A lot of us didn't and don't vote. So it is part of the thing we've got to overcome, I guess, right? I mean, I hate voting. It's obviously something I've got to work on, too. I voted in the last election. That was my second time I voted in my life. Ross Perot was the first time I voted in my life. I'm good at messing up the flow, right? And frankly, I'm glad Bush didn't get in. I mean, I don't know if Clinton was necessarily better, but Bush sucked. Kristi Noem has blocked ICE operations ruling, said judges are getting too political, so duh. Of course, it's going to be appealed. The appellate court's probably going to stop it because they don't have the right to do it. So again, it's political theater. It's judges that are literally, something's going to happen to these judges because I guarantee maybe they're just waiting to see who all does it and like just making notes, because I think the Supreme Court ultimately is going to do, I forget what it's called, but their little disciplinary thing that they can do, judicial review or some weird thing. So they'll get there. LA Mayor Karen Bass, she's promising illegal aliens cash amid raids. Now, to her credit, she was very smart to say that the money is coming from philanthropic donors. Soros, possibly, who knows? Maybe Gates, right? Whatever, that's fine. It's deep state money. They're taking it away from the deep state, and it's going to be a waste, so fantastic. But yes, some philanthropic donors are apparently giving a couple $100 per recipient. Again, just pushing and I mean, yeah. I mean, it plays out well, sort of, to the progressive, like, oh, she's trying to help them, when all Trump's tried to do is send them home. But they don't understand that most people, especially people that are legally immigrated here, they don't get that even those people especially don't like people cheating and stepping in front of the line. And most of us that appreciate the Constitution and have been under attack for the last number of years don't like all the law breaking and the disrespect for law in general. Right? So this is woefully a bad stance for the deep state. And for the rest of us, it's very popular. It's killing. Let's just say that, right? So Stephen Miller is talking about the hundreds of thousands of children in California who are being exploited for their labor. We know the marijuana slash, I feel like they grew something else too, but they were growing marijuana too. There was 10 children working there, 8 of which were unaccompanied minors that are working. Now, I don't know if they're 15 or who knows, but there is a lot of exploitation happening, especially with the minors that don't have any family at all. Like that's trafficking. That's what it is. And we're just using them as slaves, basically. I'd be very curious how much they actually got paid versus minimum wage, because it's probably less. All said. Here's Stephen Miller talking about it.
Well, first of all, the president has been clear and consistent in saying that he's going to fight labor trafficking and child trafficking. And this marijuana plantation is a clear-cut example of labor trafficking and child trafficking, which are heinous crimes. Additionally, I don't know of anybody except the governor of California who would argue that a marijuana plantation is an essential component of America's food supply chain. And everywhere you look in California, you see industrial child exploitation on a massive scale, an industrial scale. There are likely hundreds of thousands of children in California who are being exploited for their labor or sexually exploited as part of sex trafficking. This administration is liberating these children and helping reunify them with their parents back in their home country. What the Biden administration did with respect to child trafficking is one of the great crimes in human history. Over 500,000 children were illegally trafficked into the country under the previous administration. When we've gone and looked for these children, Martha, the addresses that the U.S. government provided, in other words, the records that the government kept under Joe Biden, are all fake. Nobody ever checked if the addresses were real. Nobody ever checked if the sponsors were real. Nobody ever checked if they were really even relatives or parents or relations or safe. We recently recovered a young illegal alien, for example, who had been raped repeatedly by the adult male that the Biden administration handed to her. She was under constant video surveillance and was coached exactly what to say if an officer ever knocked on her door so that she would never be rescued. We have example after example. We go to homes, 13, 14, 15-year-old children who are raped on a daily basis because the Biden administration, because the Democrat Party chose to traffic them into this country. So we will be unrelenting in our effort to free these kids.
Yeah, this is a huge story, and the Biden administration tried to push them out of these holding facilities at the border and into the arms of people who were picking them up. There were some cases where one person picked up 150 children. So I doubt very much that was their uncle.
They were not all their children.
These people are going to continue to do this, and these are tactics that are being taught and used. Where they block them in like they did with the bicycle, because you don't want to hit a pedestrian. But that kind of stuff, I don't know. When you're talking about putting officers' lives at risk, especially when there's a mob situation, I mean, it's not going to play well to the press. So I don't know. I don't know how this continues to work. But Donald Trump was not happy about this. That's for sure. Donald Trump truthed this out. I am on my way back from Texas and watched in disbelief as thugs were violently throwing rocks and bricks at ICE officers while they were moving down a roadway in their car and or official vehicle. Tremendous damage was done to these brand new vehicles. I know for a fact that these officers are having a hard time with allowing this to happen in that it shows such total disrespect for law and order. Therefore, I am directing Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem and Border Czar Tom Homan to instruct all ICE, Homeland Security, or any other law enforcement officers who is on the receiving end of thrown rocks, bricks, or other forms of assault to stop their car and arrest these slime balls using whatever means is necessary to do so. I am giving total authorization for ICE to protect itself just like they protect the public. I never want to see a car carrying a law enforcement officer attacked again. Authorization immediately granted for arrest and incarceration. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And again, Trump nailed it with truth. Having the place where he can put out his own truth and not worry about it getting spun is very powerful. We've got Tucker Carlson was speaking in front of a live audience talking about, talking about Epstein. And his points were kind of interesting. And so I wanted to play this. Check it out.
And I think the truth, for whatever it's worth, in case you're interested, is that the DOJ didn't release lots of incriminating sex videos with Epstein and his billionaire pals because they don't have them. They don't have them because when the original search warrant was served 2007, I think, possibly 2006, I think 7, it was basically designed to protect Epstein. The search warrant was written in such a way to make sure that the feds never got their hands on the actually incriminating evidence. It's another way of saying the cover-up has been going on since 2007, almost 20 years. And so the real question is not, was Jeffrey Epstein a weirdo who was abusing girls? Yes, we can answer that. The real question is, why was he doing this, on whose behalf, and where did the money come from? And those are the questions that need to be answered. And I think it's entirely fair to ask them. And it's not adequate to say anyone who asked them is somehow desecrating the memory of little girls who died in Texas. I'm not going to put up with that answer. I don't care who gives that answer. That is not acceptable. And I think the real answer is Jeffrey Epstein was working on behalf of intel services, probably not American. And we have every right to ask, on whose behalf was he working? How does a guy go from being a math teacher at the Dalton School in the late 70s with no college degree to having multiple airplanes, a private island, and the largest residential house in Manhattan? Where did all the money come from? And no one has ever gotten to the bottom of that because no one has ever tried. And moreover, it's extremely obvious to anyone who watches that this guy had direct connections to a foreign government. Now, no one's allowed to say that that foreign government is Israel because we have been somehow cowed into thinking that that's naughty. There is nothing wrong with saying that. There is nothing hateful about saying that. There's nothing anti-Semitic about saying that. There's nothing even anti-Israel about saying that.
Yeah, so he's got an interesting points. And again, a lot of people maybe don't want to believe it, maybe do. Who knows? This is definitely a weird piece of information that's out right now. There's a tech site that is called, I guess it's a magazine called Wired, but they did some forensic evidence or checked out the video of Epstein's cell hallway, or at least the door going into the hallway or whatever. They said there's definitely a spot where it changes, where it was edited. Something's up. And again, I don't know if this is at that magic 1 minute mark. I don't know. They don't really do a good job explaining it in here. They just basically say they definitely used the software Premiere, basically, to do it. And they changed it. So something's weird. Yeah, Adobe Premiere Pro. Several clips that had been exported from the source video. Subsequently, after edits were made, the altered footage was uploaded to the DOJ website and presented as supposedly raw video. Now, was this created? And this is where things are funny. And this is, again, where your belief lies is where your mind will go. So this has been edited. And the question would be, well, who edited it? And those that believe that Pam Bondi's horrible, that all of this stuff they did, they lied to us. Well, they're going to say that they're obviously the ones who edited it, covering their own tracks. But somebody that's maybe not looking at it from that standpoint might come to a different conclusion, that maybe this was actually edited back when they killed him, and it was edited really early on. And then just the FBI's always figured, or never looked at it close enough, or didn't have an expert looking at it, and just figured it was legit. So we don't know. But again, I'm not on the side that thinks Pam Bondi's screwing up. It makes more sense at this point, especially with some of the stuff we're finding out, that maybe this was screwed with a long time ago. Now, Donald Trump, time to chime in on this whole fiasco that's happening around the Epstein files. And this, I guess, got ratioed a lot. I don't know, some retruths, some likes, I don't know. But whatever the case is, it's long, but it's important. Said, what's going on with my boys and, in some cases, gals? They're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who is doing a fantastic job. We're on one team, MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. We have a perfect administration, the talk of the world, and a selfish people are trying to hurt it, all over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, it's Epstein, over and over again. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Obama, crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers and criminals of the Biden administration who canned the world with the Russia hoax, 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, and more? They created the Epstein files, just like they created the fake Hillary Clinton Christopher Steele dossier that they used on me. And now my so-called friends are playing right into their hands. Why didn't these radical left lunatics release the Epstein files? If there was anything in there that could have hurt the MAGA movement, why didn't they use it? They haven't even given up on the John F. Kennedy or Martin Luther King Jr. files. No matter how much success we have had, securing a border, deporting criminals, fixing the economy, energy dominance, a safer world where Iran will not have nuclear weapons, it's never enough for some people. We're about to achieve more in 6 months than any other administration has achieved in over 100 years, and we have so much more to do. We are saving our country and making America great again, which will continue to be our complete priority. The left is imploding. Kash Patel and the FBI must be focused on investigating voter fraud, political corruption, Act Blue, the rigged and stolen election of 2020, and arresting thugs and criminals instead of spending month after month looking at nothing but the same old radical left-inspired documents on Jeffrey Epstein. Let Pam Bondi do her job. She's great. The 2020 election was rigged and stolen, and they tried to do the same thing in 2024. That's what she's looking into as AG, and much more. 1 year ago, our country was dead. Now, it's the hottest country anywhere in the world. Let's keep it that way and not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, again, everyone's like, well, we got, all these crimes are committed against kids. We got to punish those people. True. But does that have to happen immediately the second? I mean, again, how this plays out, whether they even have any of this information, a lot to be seen. And it sounds very much like a lot of this stuff was changed. They obviously made stuff up because it's the same, the same 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, right? Same people are lying. And now, of course, they're trying to cause this riff. Now, this entire story around Bongino and Bondi all ties around an Axios story. All of it. 4 anonymous sources in an Axios story that then CNN carried, and I've seen it go all over the place. And now everybody's saying it as if it's fact, leaving out the anonymous sources component to it. Why? Because it's been reported by multiple sources. The same original story. This is how the PsyOps work. Now, again, I went looking to see if Dan Bongino's posted anything, and he has not since like the 8th or 9th. So maybe he got pissed, I don't know. From what it sounds like, Trump's all in, supporting Bondi. I got a comment from Kash Patel. He's not quitting. That's a lie. We've got confirmation from him, at least. Now, Bongino, we'll see. We'll see. Like you said, he might be pissed. This might have been an attempt to find a leak. And maybe that's what this was all about. And he's staying quiet because he kind of wants to see how this plays. Who stirs? Like Candace Owen type people are going to come out against him or Trump or all this. We're seeing it play out. And these are people that we trusted. And again, that's part of this experience. We've got to learn. So I don't know. I don't know what's up with Bongino. Kash Patel says the conspiracy theories just aren't true, never have been. It's an honor to serve the President of the United States at Real Donald Trump, and I'll continue to do so for as long as he calls on me. So that's not true, right? He didn't quit. This was pretty interesting what Solomon's got going on here, and might make some of you guys happier regarding the investigations and all the stuff that we're probably going to start to find out.
And I think next week, over the next 10 days, the base who's been wondering, where's all that accountability? They're going to get some big surprises over the next week concerning where the conspiracy began a few weeks before Crossfire Hurricane was open and when it ended, all the way in 2024, when they were still trying to pursue Donald Trump to keep him from winning the presidency. There's a big case that's been built by the Justice Department and the FBI. It's been masked by a lot of this infighting and drama and soap opera stuff, but the truth of the matter is MAGA base Americans are going to be happy when they see where this is all heading in the next few weeks. Kash Patel's going nowhere. I hope Dan Bongino isn't going anywhere, but I do think he's going to take some time over the weekend to think that through.
So hold it. We got 3 huge leads there.
Yep.
Number one, I want to go back. You're saying the 10-year conspiracy against President Trump to try to thwart his first term, steal the second term,
right,
and basically surround him in his second term or third victory.
Yep.
That has been an ongoing investigation that the FBI is already doing.
Yeah.
Does the
There's
Brennan
been a conspiracy case? It was hinted at. In fact, it was hinted at, Steve, in some of the media reporting, but I've got it confirmed. There's a conspiracy case that was open that looks at this window as a very large window. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a special prosecutor named by Pam Bondi in the next week or two. And why does this become significant? Because you don't have to necessarily then bring the grand jury or the indictment in Washington, D.C., where the 90% Democrat jury pool probably won't convict even if they had a murder. It allows them to go to someplace like Florida. One act of the overt conspiracy could very well be, Steve, that they raided President Trump's Mar-a-Lago house with false pretenses. And then you can bring the grand jury in Florida. You can bring the indictment in Florida because an overt act of the conspiracy occurred there. Maybe several overt acts of the conspiracy occurred there. You don't have to have a all-blue jury in Washington, D.C. that has Trump derangement syndrome. So this has been going on behind the scenes. I've been working on this. I decided tonight to get some of this out there. I've been talking about in my show. This is a really big deal. Now, who becomes a special prosecutor? How far-ranging is it? That's to be determined by the scope memo that a Pam Bondi would write. But there is some work on a scope memo that's been done already. And there is an enormous opportunity for those of us who've been calling for accountability to see a path to it for the first time, a legitimate path, not smoke, not mirrors, a legitimate path to accountability.
Also, let me just ask you on this conspiracy, does that mean, because people talk about the statute of limits and you can only get Brennan for perjury, lying to Congress, right, that you can't get him for everything involved in Crossfire Hurricane, everything involved with the nullification project, the Russian hoax. Are you saying by being a criminal conspiracy that's still ongoing that we can go back in time 10 years and still get Brennan and still get all these guys for more serious charges of conspiracy of a coup d'etat, sir?
That's how conspiracy cases can work. You can charge a series of events into a larger conspiracy and go back beyond the window of time that the normal statute of limitations for any single crime occurred. And keep in mind, there's also, prosecutors can make a very powerful argument that if you didn't know the crime had occurred because it had been hidden, the statute of limitations could actually reset for a period of time. But I think the most likely scenario is a large conspiracy case, and it starts in the middle of July 2016 when John Brennan walks into President Obama 2 weeks before, or a few days before Crossfire Hurricane's launch, and said, hey, we have this intercepted information that Hillary Clinton has authorized a program to make it look like Donald Trump's a Russian spy and Vladimir Putin is helping him. President Obama and Brennan knew before the FBI opened up on that information that this was a dirty trick by Hillary Clinton. That would be the first overt act, and then it would carry all the way through Ukraine impeachment. It could go into the FBI refusing to look at the Chinese interference in the 2020 election as one of the overt acts. They didn't want to help Donald Trump, so they ignored a potential counterintelligence threat. It allows for a very large series of events to be wrapped into a single conspiracy and all of them to be brought into the indictment.
And some would maybe argue,
I think next week
some would maybe argue that this is why wasting time on the Epstein stuff per se, since we may not have quite what we thought we did, A lot of what's been played out has been by the same liars that we can't trust. So again, this is part of the information war, part of the PsyOp. It's been done against us, not even necessarily by the good guys, but the bad guys too. A lot of stuff. There's a lot of expectations built into many of the things, like Martin Luther King, certainly JFK, right? 9/11. Like there's a lot of preconceived beliefs that we figured it out. And you know, we're for the most part right, but not always 100%. And not always right. And so we've got to be humble a little bit and just take the info as it comes, because a game is playing out. Sometimes it does interesting stuff to people, right? Like the experience of it and how it causes people to scatter, and it's just strange. It's strange. So I think there's a lot to appreciate, frankly. I'll try my best to at least continue to give my kind of take on it, if you will. But Cynical Publius posted this. This is pretty cool. Dear MAGA people prone to conspiracy thinking, which is rightfully most of us. I agree. Please consider the fact that the current DOJ, led by Pam Bondi, has resulted in more courtroom successes for the modern conservative agenda than any of us have ever experienced in any of our lifetimes, even if you are 100+ years old. Please consider further that the current DOJ, led by Pam Bondi, has done so while causing the Democrats and rogue judges to wholly discredit themselves via sheer narcissistic stupidity. Please consider further that this is all a transformational approach that has completely changed the trajectory of the American justice system and has allowed the enactment of the most significant aspects of the MAGA agenda. Finally, please consider further that the real conspiracy is to destroy such success by making MAGA rabid over Epstein evidence that may or may not exist, thereby wrecking DOJ leadership in the same manner as when Jeff Sessions was sabotaged. I'm pretty good at spotting actual conspiracies to undermine our success, so please consider all I have to say. Your pal, CP. And, yeah, thank you. That's excellent advice. Something to keep inside that brain. Just reminder, 20 promises to the American people. Seal the border, stop migrant invasion, did it. Carry out the largest deportation operation in American history, did it. End inflation and make America affordable again, did it. Make America the dominant energy producer in the world so far, did it. Stop outsourcing and turn the United States into a manufacturing superpower, doing it. But yeah, checkbox. Large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips, did it. Defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our fundamental freedoms, including freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the freedom to keep and bear arms, did it. Prevent World War III, restore peace in Europe and in the Middle East, and build a great Iron Dome missile defense system. It's in progress, but yeah, end the weaponization of government against the American people. Now, one thing on the wars, by the way, everyone's like, he said he was going to end the Iran or the Ukraine war in one day. And it's just like, all right, but that's stupid. Okay, so let's not be ridiculous. He started working on it on day one. But we obviously have something a little more crazy going on. So anyway, he's prevented World War III, that's for sure. And the weaponization of government against the American people, did it. Stop the migrant crime epidemic, done. Rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., make them safe and clean and beautiful again. That's not checked. That hasn't happened yet, right? Strengthen and modernize our military, done. Keep the U.S. dollar, the world reserve currency, mostly done. Fight for and protect Social Security and Medicare with no cuts. Everyone's going to claim there were cuts, but it's not. If you're able-bodied and can work, you shouldn't be getting it. That's just how it works. So either A, get a job, or B, volunteer, and you can continue to get that. So again, it's the cuts were taking it from people like illegal aliens as well that shouldn't be getting it. Let's see, fight, protect, yeah. Cancel the electric vehicle mandate, did that. Cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, did that, is doing that for sure. Keep men out of women's sports, definitely did that. Deport pro-Hamas radicals, doing it. Unite our country by bringing it into new record levels of success, doing it. And the only other one he missed, secure our elections. Hasn't happened yet, it's coming. So seriously, 18 of the 20 promises are either well underway, completely taken care of, right? And we're bitching about Epstein. That's the thing. We're distracting ourselves, and we do it so we shoot ourselves in the foot so beautifully. Here's CNN. The left is even talking about Epstein right now and demanding more information, which can only help this move forward in a very cool kind of way. But here's CNN talking about it.
What a massive, unforced error by the Trump administration. Donald Trump would love this story to go away, but in fact, interest is climbing higher and higher, to quote Jackie Wilson. Look at this. Google searches for Epstein up 1,200% this week versus last. And get this, it is currently the top topic search with Trump on Google alongside his presidency. So Donald Trump normally, leans into stories in which there's controversy, like tariffs, for example. This is a story in which he's trying to get away from, basically saying, why is anyone still interested in this story? But the bottom line is people are very interested in this story to historic degrees, at least this week.
Give us some perspective. You see that 1,200 number about other stories in comparison, how people are viewing this one.
Yeah, okay. So, I mentioned tariffs earlier on, right? Epstein has been Googled a lot since Monday. He's actually been Googled 1.4 times as much as tariffs has been Googled, and that is, of course, a huge news story. How about Grok, which is another insane news story this week? I mean, my goodness gracious. But in fact, Epstein has been Googled 2.5 times as much as the Grok story has been Googled. So the bottom line is this is a story in which there's a lot of interest, and it's one of the few stories in which both Steve Bannon and Elon Musk are going after Trump, at least the Trump administration. He's managed to bring together two parts of the administration or two parts of the fan base that have normally been against each other.
Yeah, you can bet on anything, and this proves it. What are you seeing as far as whether or not people think that they will actually release these Epstein files?
Yeah, I know my buddy Vin from Jersey would love for the Trump administration to release more Epstein files. But get this, Trump releasing more Epstein files in 2025, this is the betting market odds. You go back 2 months ago, it was 43%. You go back even a month ago, it was 39%. But now it's just at 20%. I think that there are going to be a lot of the normally MAGA fan base who are going to be very disappointed. And this is all a self-inflicted error by Trump and the Trump administration.
Many in the administration were pushing all these conspiracy theories, promising bombshells when they got into office. And nothing.
It turns out what goes around sometimes comes around when you push conspiracy theories.
That's true. All right, Harry Enton, it is a pleasure. Thank
you. Again, masterclass by Donald Trump. Right? Trying to drop it, berating the person for asking the question. Now, here's the part that just, again, so many of us are prepared for this, yet so many of us forget, I think. A lot of the information that's being done is because the progressives or the deep state is going to do the opposite of what Trump says. Always. So Trump capitalizes on things. What messes stuff up often is it confuses us because we take Trump at his word, but we forget sometimes that he's playing a game. And I think for the most part, he figures most of us will figure it out, or at least there's enough of us that are level-headed enough to help through this. I think he figures it. But this is masterclass, because there's no way Trump messed up on this. I think it's going to force it to the surface, and I think that's kind of what Trump is doing, because ultimately it's the deep state that's tried to hide this stuff, I think. And it's them that are going to have a hard time with it. And there's going to be a lot of bad apples that get caught up in this. So I think there's nothing wrong with having this come to the surface. Again, we'll see. It's such an interesting ride we're on. Iran could recover some of the enriched uranium buried deep at Isfahan, Israel says. Now, Israel, again, wants to continue attacking. This is at least the deep state in Israel is wanting very much to not be done fighting wars. They want to fight more wars. They want to fight wars. And it's kind of like, no, you're done. Here's the thing. And everybody is, again, this is right here. The word somewhat contradicts the Trump admin position that everything was utterly destroyed. That's not what they've said. They've said their nuclear making abilities have been utterly destroyed. They didn't say everything. They never ever once claimed to have destroyed all the enriched uranium. They've not said whether they have or haven't. They've made really no mention of it. Trump's talked about how it was heavy, so all the trucks that were lined up definitely weren't moving that. So, don't know. But we destroyed the centrifuges, the ability to refine it further. We destroyed the place where they can turn it into a weapon. We destroyed the place that could then put that onto a weapon. We destroyed their ability. We obliterated their ability to make war or to make nukes. Yeah, they might still have some 60 refined. There's rumor that they already had a couple nukes. I wonder where those were kept. Nobody's talking about that either. They had a bunch of these supposedly microdized nukes, like really small, about as small as they can be before they, it just doesn't really, you don't have enough material to go nuclear, so just be a dirty bomb at that point. So, yeah, they supposedly had a few of those, or more. Not everything's what it seems. Bondi drops charges against a doctor accused of destroying COVID vaccine doses and issuing fake cards. A cool doctor. I kind of remember him. He was from Utah. Dr. Kirk Moore. He was accused of throwing away more than $28,000 worth of COVID-19 vaccine doses. And so he'd give people a saline shot and be like, he'd squirt out the whatever and then pull in saline or something, right? And then just, there you go. And we'll fill out your card that you got it. So she dropped the charges. Some pretty cool stuff there. Unquestionably, making Pam Bondi, great again, I guess. Rep Mike Collins put this out. He says, once again, trust the plan, which is funny to hear a member of Congress say that because, come on, man. We barely trust anybody in Congress right now and probably shouldn't. Treasury posts unexpected surplus in June as tariff receipts surge. We're making money. That's money we don't have to print. That's huge. Again, he wants the debt ceiling raised because who knows what crazy stuff's going to happen, and sometimes we need to spend a bunch of money because of an emergency or something crazy like that. You don't want this weird lingering thing over your head where they can hold it over your head. He's like, no, $5 trillion. That'll last me my whole term if I had to, but I don't think I'll need it. And again, just because there's a ceiling, hopefully Trump never hits it. And hopefully we start going down. That was the whole point. Frankly, I'd like to see the Fed removed, but I don't know how the hell that all works out. But yeah, we're making money. Trump's promises are happening. Many are wondering, can Jay Powell make it through the weekend? I haven't heard anything yet, at least at the time of recording, that he'd been fired or quit. I don't think he will. I think he's too stubborn. I think that's part... Again, I don't know. I just feel like that's part of the movie. I could be wrong. Calling it out sometimes is not necessarily the good thing because you give it a chance to change. But I believe strongly that he is being spotlighted intentionally. I don't know. I have a hard time telling sometimes if people do things intentionally or if they just happen to be that way and it just works perfectly. It's hard for me to tell, right? Because I think a lot of people just insist that people are doing playing a role. And I believe that from a spiritual standpoint, but I don't believe it from a physical standpoint. I think most people are just the way they are. And so they're going to generally do certain things. You just know it. They're pretty predictable. It's kind of funny when people are like that. So anyway, maybe it's the same thing. 6 of one, half a dozen the other. Maybe. Whatever. But yeah, supposedly someone's saying Jerome Powell might be considering resigning. Doubt it. Doubt it completely. So I don't know, whatever. Big talks, big wondering. Trump names a loyalist to planning board in a fascinating anti-Jerome Powell play. He is set to utilize a little-known federal government entity to launch a renewed effort aimed at either ousting Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell or, at least, forcing the central bank chief to succumb to pressure to slash interest rates. In a political maneuver reminiscent of President Richard Nixon's efforts to push his Fed chairman, Arthur Burns, to cut interest rates, Trump has quietly replaced a number of Biden-era appointees on the National Capital Planning Commission with key figures in his White House. This move suggests that America First leader will use the commission's authority over government buildings, including the Federal Reserve's headquarters, to fuel a negative media campaign against Powell, who has overseen a lavish renovation of the central bank's offices that far exceeds its approved budget. However, should the National Capital Planning Commission uncover evidence of serious malfeasance or ethical lapse on Powell's part, it could lay the groundwork for President Trump to fire the Federal Reserve Chairman outright, because it needs to be cause. Lying to Congress coincidentally fits that well. And again, I don't know. I feel like the Fed's got to get kicked out. I think most of us agree on that. I don't know how that plays out. You're expecting a part of the movie to happen, and it kind of has to in some way, shape, or form. But how that manifests itself in the movie is oftentimes what makes the movie so wonderful, right? Trump's going to throw a 30% tariff on Mexico and European Union. It's just done. I know Ursula von der Leyen, she's continuing to be like, we're trying to work a deal. We're going to do reciprocal tariffs, and she backed away from that. I think she's backed away from a couple stronger stances that she was going to make. Europe's in a tough place, too, because they're kind of playing hardball with China right now as well. I think I've got a story on that somewhere. Peter Navaro touts Trump-nomics in a rant against Powell and the Federal Reserve. He said, so here's the deal. It's like in the first term when President Trump was in, Powell gets up to chair, and the first thing he starts doing is raising rates because he doesn't understand how powerful Trump-nomics is and be able to generate strong growth without generating inflation. He said that he cost this country a full point of growth per year, which is just a lot of jobs, close to 1 million jobs. It's billions of dollars in tax revenues and so things. And then second, when he's in with Biden in order to get reappointed, he cozies up the Biden, pure partisan political, I don't know what the C word is. Sure it's not the unt, right? See you next Tuesday. I don't think it's that. Anyway, and he doesn't raise interest rates when Biden and then the Democrat Congress are now spending like drunken sailors driving the inflation rate, not taking care of supply chains. Basically, Powell's done the opposite of what you should do, and it's been politically motivated always. Again, they did all the favors to try to make Biden look good, and still Trump's in there, by the way. So again, Powell, he's deep state, 100%, and he's one of the last bastions. The second Trump can replace him, we go to smart money, and maybe we just get out of the Fed in a cool kind of way. I mean, but I feel like for some reason it's not going to go smoothly. We'll see. EU suspends retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods, hopes to reach a deal by August 1st. Von der Leyen hopes to. She hopes. Trump's like, I don't care, 30%. Anyway, business. Next place. Beijing punishes Europe on trade as it seeks the EU's support against U.S. pressures. Europe is kind of being tough on China right now. We're being tough on China right now. China's like, what is up? This sucks. All right? And so that's pretty much what's going on. In a nutshell. Right. China reports worst producer deflation in 2 years amid ongoing trade. So the PMI, right, the producer product or PPI, I think they call it, their numbers are dropping. Their production is going down month over month now. This is going to cripple China. Now, again, I think the people will finally be able to maybe rise up and hopefully take control or at least get the CCP out. I was actually talking to my Chinese friend this weekend, and she is not liked by the people. So it makes me kind of think maybe he's the problem, and a lot of power has been taken away from him. And so this weird idea that maybe he was the good guy that was going to flip the country might not be true. And there was a prophecy I thought I talked about once a long time ago, but it had something to do with like 5 sparrows were flying over a mountain in China, and one of the sparrows was black. It might have been a different bird, but it was an odd bird, so I'm going to call them sparrows. But one was black, and the rest were white. And many suggest that she is the black sparrow, or whatever bird it is, like I said. So it's very interesting what's going on there. And just even their culture and their belief structure, it's very different than ours. Like they don't really believe in life after death. It's just they kind of don't have that thought process at all, which is very interesting. My particular friend, her mom passed away, and she still has a hard time because she didn't get to see her because of COVID. She was here in the States. So futures don't look too crazy. Gold's up right now, which is good, 33.70. Not bad at all. Silver's at 39. Holy crap. Dang. It's about to break $40. I've been talking about this stuff for a while, guys. I ain't making stuff up. Silver's going to bust. When it busts, too, it's going to be crazy good. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. If you got a 401k, an IRA, or would like to get some precious metals, you're in luck. This is a great place to go. DRSlikesgold.com. If you're in a 401k or an IRA, you can get out tax-free, penalty-free. Okay, you move sideways basically. If they give you the money, then you're going to pay taxes and penalties. And then if you want to buy precious metals after, then you still you don't always buy it at the buy price. Like it's not quite that sweet how this game plays. When you buy precious metals, you usually pay more than what it's going for at the moment, right? It's just how it works. So there's a process to this. You do it sideways, it's much better. You're going to get way more of the precious metals. Precious metals are going up like crazy right now. They have been. I mean, they kind of hit a neat little plateau, but I think what Trump's got to do to get the Fed out, you just want to be prepared for, and you don't necessarily want to be in the stock market because that could be a tough day, right? A few days even. Go to drslikesgold.com. Protect your wealth, right? Get up to 10% free silver. Free silver. Remember I said that's undervalued? Yeah, that's like a gift that's going to give even more down the road, which is kind of super cool. Like for right now, the price that they got it at was cool, and you're going to get 10%. Like you're going to get a good deal. And then down the road, you've got that silver, and it's physical. It's in a trust, and you can at some point withdraw those coins if you wish. I mean, just got to make the first step happen. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Make that happen. 4 data points. You're going to get some great information, tax-free, penalty-free, free silver, and that Ronald Reagan coin, most likely. So if you just put in your 4 data points, hit send me my kit. I think it's going to pop up and say, hey, if you call us within 20 minutes and make it easy for all of us, then you're going to get some cool stuff. So check it out. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system before they get out of you. Oddly, Russia is going to scrap its one aircraft carrier. It's cost overruns. They've been trying to fix it for a long time. It's super old. I mean, it's stupid old. They've not really built them anymore. They're kind of like, we're more into this missile and drone thing right now, and aircraft carriers seem kind of stupid. So they're actually just done with it. I don't know if they're going to blow it up and turn it into a reef or what they're going to do with it. I doubt I don't know. They might do that. It'll probably be explored by divers. They'll probably set up cameras in there. I don't know. That might be interesting. All said, they're getting rid of it. They will have 0 aircraft carriers. They still got other ships and stuff, but I don't know. Interesting. Trump orders Chinese company to divest from U.S. business. I am sure I can't say this company's name properly. It's a Hong Kong-based Swiru International company. Swiru? I can't even imagine how you would say that. International company, though. It's limited. It's to divest. This is where I should get Tiffany Meyer on the phone. Tiffany Meyer, can you please say that word for me, please? Thanks. And what are you doing next week, anyway? She's going to divest all of their interests in this Delaware-based Jupiter Systems LLC due to national security risks. This is literally a Chinese company tied into the Communist Party of China owning defense company here in the United States. Yeah. So we're at least putting an end to this kind of stuff. Like, again, people are like, Epstein's like, this is far more important right now. Right now it is. We got to, cut the snakes off, cut all the cables, and then we can bust them. And I'm sure they can use some of this stuff as over their heads, too, right? It'd be a shame. We've seen the list if there is some sort of thing, right? We've seen the videos, we've seen whatever. We know what they're guilty of, right? So you can hold that over anybody's head once they find out. So again, how this plays out is how it's going to play out. This is what I understand, right? So they're divesting that stuff just to kind of, again, deep state, get the frick out. Nigel Farage is talking about the grooming gang scandal. It's getting even worse. It seems that people are, figuring out that this is information that's being withheld. It's being repressed because they didn't want to cause additional racism. Ladies and gentlemen. So this is crazy. And the Brits are, I'm going to guess, pretty sure I'm accurate on this, though still can't tell. I know they're pissed. I know they're super pissed. This is one of the biggest damn deals going on in England right now as far as the awakening process. This is, I would call it's not really a 9/11, but it's the equivalent, because they're just realizing how these people don't care. They're covering it up, and it's you're intentionally forcing these situations and just making it worse, kind of like what we've found with a lot of these DAs that were dropping charges, right? And people would continue to do more and more crime, and it was just starting to become crazy in cities. Same things. So this is a big deal for England right now, and hopefully leads to more positive things. The IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces soldiers, there's supposedly these drones being used that are killing a bunch of just random people. I don't feel like I want to play this video, but literally you see some people run, you see the drone drop a grenade, and one of the dudes looks to have died because he falls down and doesn't move anymore. It's pretty effed up. So yeah, they're literally saying like there was one of all the 700 people killed. There's a number in here. Where are they? Of the hundreds of people killed, they're saying, and again, I don't know if it's just meant to be anti-Israel, right? Like, okay, 972. No, where? That's just tech. Oh, it's something else. Okay, whatever. Yeah, whatever the case is, there was many. And only one of them was actually military. One or two others had a weapon, like a knife or something weird. And then, yeah, so they're in a place that they don't know necessarily. They're not supposed to be. That's not really cordoned off in any way. And they're just killing them. Again, it just seems kind of weird. And they want to fight more. And they're like, oh, they've still got nukes. We need to go in there and fight. It's like, no, you don't. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of... it's just sad. Anyway. Marjorie Taylor Greene's moving to strike $500 million of military aid to nuclear-armed Israel. She's like, look, they got nukes. We're already giving them billions of dollars a year. She's like, I say no. And she's talking about, I think, clawing back $500 million, or at least not giving them $500 million for more stuff. She's like, no, hell no. So, like I said... She's one that cracks me up. Like, she'll piss me off so hard sometimes. She'll be on the wrong side of an issue for sure, and then she'll snap back. She's not as bad as some of these other guys. Tubman or Tibman, what's his name? The bastard from Kentucky. Oh, that guy sucks. He pisses me off, that's for sure. Trump to meet the NATO Secretary General as they plan this Ukraine weapons sale. I love how Trump's doing this. So again, talk about making things better. Like, Ukraine doesn't have any money, so they can't buy anything from us. And we're like, all right, you guys want this war to continue, NATO? All right, you guys want to make Ukraine part of NATO? Then put your money where your mouth is. Buy the weapons from us. And, give your shit up. And then we'll supply you with newer stuff that you've bought. And you can give your Patriot battery away and just sit there without one while we try to build one for you. Now we'll see if they're willing to do that. But Trump's like, yeah, put your money where your mouth is, folks, because we're tired of this game. That's why he's saying you got to spend more money on defense. That's what he's talking about. You all got to buy the weapons. We're not supplying everything anymore. Done. North Korea sends 6,000 engineers, construction workers, and whatnot to help rebuild Russia's Kursk region. So they're out there. Interesting is if Ukraine attacks them, I know they've been helping, but I think some of them have been killed. I mean, there was a video out where Kim Jong-un was actually like crying. Apparently his tear ducts do work, and he was crying over these soldiers that came back with the flags draped over, which again would be horrifically bad. Dying is stupid. It just needs to stop. I wish we all just could figure that out. Just be like, yeah, I'm not supposed to kill people. It is in the Ten Commandments. One would think, that's enough. Unless someone's literally right now at the moment trying to take your life, like they can think nasty thoughts about you all they want, but that's not the same thing as literally coming at you with a weapon, right? Or something. So it's kind of different. Philippines basically got some commitment from the United States to deter China. Be like, look, China, we're definitely going to help Philippines out. We've got a pretty strong pact with them. We dig them. They're cool. We like them. And they have great food. Oh, man, those lumpia, those little egg roll things. I'm telling you what. So good. So good. We even have a calamansi tree for any of the few Filipino people out there. Literally, got calamansi. I've been picking them while my girlfriend's been out because a bunch of them have gotten ripe. So they're in the fridge. She's going to be stoked. She's got a bunch of them. She's like, stoked. Fresh calamansi's waiting for her. SpaceX is going to invest $2 billion into Elon Musk's XAI startup, Wall Street Journal is saying, which is kind of cool. It's an interesting place to get some of that money. Musk has got to be doing some restructuring in some weird ways, but yeah, have the company buy the other company, and he sort of owns those companies by the stock. So yeah, smart. France is opening a criminal investigation into X. They're alleging that they manipulated the algorithm to create some sort of disfavor for the French politicians or something strange, some strange story that they seem to care about. Again, French people. They really, it's a member of parliament that's like, they had to have altered it. So they just made up their mind that this happened, and then we're now going to start an investigation. Whatever. I'm sure Musk's like, nah. Ford's recalling a whole bunch of vehicles, 850,000 of them apparently. There's a bad, faulty, low-pressure fuel pump that's going on that could cause the engine to stall. It's pretty bad. So Ford and Rinkins, Bronco, Explorer, F-150, Aviator, Navigator. So yeah, did they give the years? I don't know, a bunch of them. So yeah, if you own one of those, you're probably going to be getting something in the mail, or be looking for an email too, because they'll reach out to you and they've got your VIN number registered somewhere and they'll know. So yeah, keep those things in mind. Folks, yeah, we're going to start another week, and this week should be very interesting. And again, looking forward to seeing a lot of people, I think, are getting better at the PsyOp stuff. A lot of people are. I'm tripping it, but there's still a few of them that I just keep seeing them veer in the wrong direction. It's like, all right, you're outing yourself. That's maybe good, maybe bad, whatever the case is. I love you guys, and we're going to do this again tomorrow. I hope that's okay. But I'll tell you this much. Where we go one, we go all. That's on The Fringe with Dan Radio Style.